Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get a notification every time I upload this video. Don't forget to thumbs up this video and share this video. Today's video is going to be my review recap of How to Get Away with Murder season 4 episode 10. Everything we did was for nothing. Now the episode opens with Laura's daddy in the press conference giving his speech because he made himself a billionaire because of everything closed with the IPO and all that stuff. And Laura's like dreaming and having flashbacks of West and the baby and all this stuff. So she's just going through that and she ends up waking up. And then we have Michaela. She's home with Asher, I believe. She's wondering why Tegan isn't at the press conference because all the partners and everybody else, they were up there on stage with Laura's dad and Tegan wasn't there, and she was wondering why she wasn't there. And then they keep saying that they have to get a hearing to try to get custody and get the baby back because Laura's dad obviously took the baby because he's trying to get the information back that they got, the hard drive. So he took the baby, so they're trying to come up with exclusions and excuses and stuff that can get Laura out of this so they can have an emergency hearing so she can get her baby back. And then still at the hospital, Michaela come by to see Laurel, and Annalise asks her to skip class so she can watch over Laurel so Laura won't just start acting crazy or like, I don't know, she just wants somebody to watch over her or whatever. And Michaela agrees. And Frank still has Dominic's phone after Annalise told him to get rid of it. He still has the phone and the phone just keep ringing and ringing and ringing. And she tell him again to get rid of the phone. And he say he's going to do it or whatever, but he didn't get rid of the phone. And then we get Annalise and Nate. Annalise's go over to Nate's like job or whatever and trying to ask him about the hard drive. And Nate told them that the hard drive was never logged in, so he don't know who has it. Like obviously Laura's father doesn't have it. We don't know if the DA has it because he might be holding it hostage for security for himself. We don't know that, or we don't know like if another officer or somebody else had it, or if Dominic came by and snuck by and got it. But we know Dominic is dead to the bed, so if he does have it, we don't know where it is. And then back at Annalise's house, she rehired the kids or whatever to help her with the class action suit. And Oliver is still like acting a fool over Simon. I don't know. I think Oliver's just acting crazy like this because Simon confessed his love for him. And he just been all weirded out. Because you know like back before Simon got shot or whatever, he told Oliver that he liked him and all that stuff. I didn't even know if Simon was gay or whatever. But yeah, so Simon just been acting crazy like ever since all this stuff happened with it. And he only started to care about Simon after Simon told him that he has feelings for him. It was so weird to me. And then Annalise ended up snapping on Oliver because Oliver said something and Annalise was like, I didn't do any of this. All this stuff that happened was because of them. I didn't even know any of this was going down until after everything had not happened. And she had them stormed out or whatever. And I think she told him if he didn't want to be a part of it, he can leave or something like that. I can't remember exactly what she told him. And she like left them in the apartment. And then Connor came and told her, try not to be so hard on Oliver. He's going through a lot of some crap like that. And I'm like, Connor, you have some nerve to come at Annalise when Oliver's the one getting slick. He getting slick with all of y'all thinking he's better than all of y'all because y'all always committing crimes and all this stuff. So it's not Annalise's fault. It's Oliver's fault. And then we get Frank. He takes Dominic's car to get crushed and the body is still in the trunk. And I'm like, when they crush the car, isn't it blood and all that stuff is going to crash, like going to flow out of the thing? I don't understand. But he ended up taking the car to get crushed. I'm like, Frank, you're not even in disguise. Like, these people can just draw you and say, oh yeah, you the one who bought that car if they find a body or something in it. Frank wasn't even in disguise. He just was like there regularly. And then the phone just kept on ringing, kept on ringing, kept on ringing. He still didn't get rid of the phone. Like, Annalise done told him multiple times to get rid of this phone and he still has the phone. Like, it's really weird. Like, don't you know that they, especially with Antares and his software and all this stuff, they can trace the information back to the exact spot it was the phone is located. And he's just walking around with this phone all willy-nilly like everything's sweet. So Michaela, she's over at the hospital with Laura and she just keeps texting Tegan and Tegan's not responding to her. But then we find out that Laura's mother was committed too. Her father had her committed too. And like the same thing he's doing to her, he did it to her mother. And I'm like, he probably did this just for control or whatever. or she filed for divorce or something so she wouldn't get that much money or something. Because people are crazy like that. Like men, they go to like length to protect their money. And then we get this emotional scene with Annalise going over to Wes's apartment, just going through his stuff, like reminiscing about him. It was so sad. Like they need to just go ahead and bring Wes back, especially if they're going to keep doing all these flashbacks. But she was just going through his apartment or whatever and just like going through his stuff. And I'm like, isn't Wes' apartment was like a crime scene or something? And then down at the DA office, we have Bunny asking Nate about Asher's case to see if they got any evidence and all that stuff. And Nate was like, nothing was going on, but he had a hearing for Asher in a few minutes and Bunny was making him late for it. And then he was like, he has a real job and he can't keep getting caught up in Annalise's stuff, her and Bunny. Because Bunny like Bunny was like, I'm not caught up in him. He was like, yes you are. You keep going back to her. You keep going back trying to help her. But Nate, you're doing the same thing. Like I don't understand. Y'all keep saying y'all done with Annalise, but Annalise got some kind of hold on y'all that y'all keep coming back. Like everybody, every character on this show keeps saying that Annalise is the devil and Annalise is on their nerves, but every single person comes back. Wes was mad at her. He came back. Wes ended up killing her own husband. Like, Laura was mad at her. She came back. Annalise saved her baby. But Kayla was mad at her. She came back. Asher was mad at her. No, Asher, I don't think Asher was the only one that wasn't mad at her. Connor was mad at her. He came back and started working for her and got back excited. Like, all of them. Every last one of them got mad at Annalise for something and came back. Frank came, he got mad, but he's been in his whole life trying to make up to her for killing her baby. Bunny got mad, she came back multiple times. Nate got mad, he came back multiple times. Like, Annalise got some kind of hold on them. I don't know what it is. And then back at Annalise's apartment, because you know the kids are going through the class action suit, Oliver done broke into the hospital records and looking up Simon's vital signs. I'm like, you're really becoming really, really obsessed with this guy. And the guy don't even like you like that. Not that we know of. The guy don't really know him like that. And he's up there looking up the vital signs and all that stuff. And I'm like, Oliver is really taking this thing too far, like for real. So Laura's back at the hospital. Annalise went back to see Laurel. And she wanted to tell her, she texted her that it was an emergency from Michaela's phone. And she was like, you're supposed to be watching her, Michaela. Like, how is she like sending this out? And then Laura's like, oh, because I wanted to get you here. And she was like, what? What do you mean? And she was like, I wanted you to file this motion right here to get my hearing and all that stuff. It's some motion that her mom used to get custody back and all this crap. And Annalise was like, oh, I already filed it. I did it this morning. It didn't work. And then she was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah, I did it this morning. It didn't work. And Michaela just was looking at her. She didn't say anything. And she was like, it only works for domestic violence. So that has been denied. So, and then she ended up walking out of the room. And Michaela asked her why she lied. And she was like, she just needed to have Laura stay there so she can be safe. Because they don't know really what's going on with Laura and what caused her to have early labor. So basically, she don't really know if Laura was on them drugs like that. Or something that Laura did to make her have the baby early. So she ended up just lying to her just for her protection. And Michaela, she like kind of got mad saying that she don't need to be lying to her. So while the kids are still at the apartment, Nate comes over and he wanted to speak to Asher. And he was asking Asher about the altercation between him and Simon. And then he was like, they had some kind of witness that showed that they had an altercation before Simon got shot. And he was asking, was it Tegan? And he was like, he didn't know. And he was like, cause she mad at Michaela. She didn't believe the story that we told her and all this stuff. So he thinking it may be Tegan that told. And then Connor came in the room talking about what's going on. And then he was like, this is between me and Asher. He was like, it's no secrets around here. That's what got us in trouble in the first place. And I'm like, yeah, they kind of do know everybody's business. But Nate was like, no, I'm done here. And so Nate ended up leaving. So when they walked back in the living room, Oliver is gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like they really need to just get him off the show because he's really getting on my nerves. So when Oliver left, he ends up going to the hospital. And he's trying to see him. And the hospital man at the desk was like, he can't see him because only family is allowed to see him. And he was like, you don't have any family in this country. And he was like, well, I still can't release him. He was like, okay, he's my boyfriend. And he was like, well, you're not listening to the next of kin. He was like, because he still was in the closet. And he ended up going in the room. Like, they gave him access to the room. I'm like, is it that easy in the hospitals? Like, I don't think it worked like that in the real world. But this is really, really crazy. He was sitting there talking to him, telling him how he's sorry, and just was sitting there just acting like he was his real friend or whatever. But the hospital, man, they wrong for that. Just let him in there. He could be anybody. He could have been a killer or anything. So we get Frank and Annalise back at Annalise's apartment, I think. And they watching Laura Dad's on TV. And Frank said, I feel like he's watching me. She was like, he probably is. And then they turn off the TV or whatever. And the phone rings again. And Annalise got mad. She was like, didn't I tell you to get rid of the phone? And then he said he put some tracking device on it to show where the call is coming from. And it ended up being the DA Denver that keeps calling the phone. He was like, this is from the DA office. This is Denver's line. And then he goes convincing Annalise to try to get her to apologize to Bonnie so they can get some help. I said, that's the only reason why you want her to apologize to Bonnie? So they'll get some help out of the DA office? But Annalise said that she didn't want to do it or whatever. But she still ended up going over to Bonnie's house. And Bonnie was shocked to see her because it was like nighttime. It looked like Bonnie was in her night clothes or whatever. And she basically went over there and was like, Frank want me to apologize to you. And I'm like, well, at least you told the truth that you didn't want to go over there. That Frank made you go over there. And Bonnie was like, well, we don't need to be listening to Frank. Neither one of us need to be listening to Frank. But anyways, they started talking back and forth and feeling sorry for each other because they say both of them need each other. And that's the only reason why their relationship is the way it is, because each one of them need it. And Bonnie was like, no, your relationship with me is because you felt bad for me, how you humiliated me on the stand. Because, you know, like when her father was raping her and had all the mother's men raping her, she's like tore her down on the stage because Annalise's client was one of the rapists. So she was like, you just spent your whole life feeling sorry for me. But they end up apologizing to each other. Annalise finally broke down and apologized to her, telling her that she's sorry or whatever. And then back at the hospital, Connor and Asher rushes in there to get Oliver out of there. And the nurse man who let him in there was like, well, y'all need to leave because y'all not on the list to come. So I'm going to call security. And the man was like, they was like, you don't have to call security. We about to leave or whatever. And Asher told him that he'll wait for Oliver outside while Connor goes see Laurel in the hospital. And then back in Laura's room, Michaela asked her about the early labor or whatever. She's trying to like figure out like what's going on. And she asked, was it Simon? And then Laura was like, no, it was Frank. Like when him and Simon got into the altercation, he hit her stomach. And that's how like it really, and she was like, are you serious? And then she's like, yeah, I felt it. And she was like, it really hurt it. And she told Michaela not to tell Frank because it was like really, really crush him. So Michaela was like, okay, she won't say anything. Laura ended up apologizing to everybody because her plan didn't work and she done put all their lives and careers and everything in danger to try to get this. And then Oliver was like, he want to hack into the system. And they're like, no more hacking. Like, just stop. And I'm like, Oliver, you claim that you don't want to do this, but you still trying to hack the system and stuff. It's really crazy. I would get Bonnie at the DA office and she told DA Denver that Simon computer had some information about him and Antares on it, and she had it destroyed or whatever. And he was like, okay, good. He didn't deny it or anything. And then he just took whatever papers or something that she gave her, I can't remember, and he just was like, okay. And she turned around and walked off. And when she went back into her office, she had done recorded it on her phone, and she playing the recording. I'm like, why would you play the recording at the actual place that you recorded? Like, the man could have your room he could have your room wired or have eavesdroppers or anything. You never know with it, especially like when you're dealing with high-powered people who are trying to cover their behinds. Like, why would you play that at the actual place? And then we get Nate going down to see Tegan down at the law firm. Now he asks her about Asher and Simon about the altercation or whatever. But she's sticking to the story that Simon committed suicide. She's not budging from that story. I guess that's the story they're going to go with the company to try not to get so much bad publicity. But she's sticking to that story. He asked her something about Antares, and she said it's attorney-client privilege, anything about Antares. So Nate was like, okay. And she was like, okay, we're done here. Like, the company is really cooperating with everybody, all the detectives and everything. But that's all we have to say for now. Then we get Michaela rushing over to Annalise and Frank. and she's trying to get some kind of information so Laura can get out, and she ended up spilling the beans to Frank that he was the one who caused her to go into early term labor when he hit the bed. And I'm like, didn't Laura tell you not to tell anyone? Like, what's wrong with you guys on this show? Like, y'all tell each other secrets and stuff and tell each other not to tell anyone, but you guys still end up telling the person that you're not supposed to tell. You're not, you know, you never keep any secrets. It's really crazy. Like, she told you that in confidence so you're not to tell Frank, because you already know Frank is very, very fragile. But you told Frank anyway. That's really crazy. And then we get Annalise and her therapist. Now, she go rushing over to the man's office. Some client was leaving or whatever. She was waiting out in the hallway. And she begging the man to help Laura and all that stuff, and saying he the only one that can help her. And I was like, Annalise, you got some nerves. After you just cussed this man out, talk to this man like a dog about his daughter and stuff, and you got some nerve to come over there and ask him for some help. And he got on her too. He was like, you got some nerve to come over here being a narcissist and just making everything about you and how you disrespecting me and all that stuff, and then you want to come ask for help. He kept telling her no, he's gonna assign her to somebody else. And she was like, you the only one can help me, you the only one can help me. So she ended up wearing him down, because he ended up going to the hospital later to give Laura her evaluation, and he was asking her, has she ever wanted to kill her father? And she's like, you want the truth? And he was asking her about her bipolar mother, and she was like, yeah, but she never showed any symptoms of it. And asking her, has she ever wanted to hurt herself and all this stuff. But he gave her a really good evaluation. Laura seemed like she's in her right mind to me, even though I can't stand her. She seemed like she's in her right mind to me. She just want to see her baby. She's just going through this trauma because her dad has her baby. And then we get Michaela going to see Tegan at the office. Michaela walks up to her and asks her why she's protecting her. And she was worried about her not being at the IPO addressing and stuff. She's like, is it something that she did? And Tegan was like, you really think highly of yourself, huh? It's nothing about you. And she told Michaela, you're crazy if you stand out here in the open talking about this like these people they ain't got nobody around the corner. I'm like, yeah, Michaela, this is really crazy. These people can have somebody eavesdropping or anything. And then she told Michaela, don't write, call, text her, see her ever again in life. She was like, because all their lives are in danger right now. And I'm like, Michaela, why would you think this lady will talk to you after the stunt y'all pulled? So I guess this Michaela fired, like from her internship. I guess she fired. She wasn't getting paid anyway. And then while this is going on, Laurel's dad and DA Denver is sitting in the car, and the dad asked him if he found Dominic or something, or heard from him or something. And the DA was like, no, he didn't hear from him, but he said, but we got a problem. A Bunny Winterbottom. And I'm like, oh, so y'all finna put a hit out on Bunny now? Because Bunny done came in and told you about the Antares thing. And then Laura gets out. They goes back to West's apartment, her, Frank, and Annalise. And Frank ended up playing the voicemail from her, from West, from Dominique's answer machine, and telling him like what she think of it or whatever. And the phone started ringing. And then she was like, don't answer. They were like, don't answer the phone, don't answer the phone. This ain't never been calling. It's your dad. It's your dad calling. She was like, this is not my dad. This is my mom. And they were looking at her like she was crazy. I'm looking at her like she's crazy too. And I said, no wonder they kept mentioning her mom so much this episode. But we've never seen Laura's mom. I had just assumed like maybe she died or something. And is Laura the only child? So she answered the phone. She was like, hey, mom. And then it went off. And I'm like, Laura, by you answering this phone, they gonna know Dominic's dad, that he just ain't gonna give you the phone. Like, this is really crazy. But thank you guys for tuning into my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notification every time I upload a new video. All my social media links are down below. You can buy my ebook Football Wax off of Amazon Kindle for 99 cents. Can Unlimited, you get to read both parts for free. You can leave a message down below, a comment down below if you watch the show. If you think I missed anything or any important parts, leave it down in the comments. If you watch the show, tell me what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, guys. Don't forget to share, like, and like this video. Bye.